Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome to this show that follows up from our 2024 energies, first quarter energies show about the road to Hana. So I wanted to come in and bring what I consider to be maybe more of an advanced teaching, I don't know if it's not a teaching, but an advanced concept, so to speak, for those of you that are ready for it. And I think some of you are, based on some of the comments and messages I've received, and some of the things coming out in the daily readings, which we do daily readings, almost daily readings on Instagram, TikTok, and TLC for the Soul's YouTube channel. Before I go any further, just inviting in the guides to surround us all and wrap us all in love light and light love. Inviting in the guides who would like to join in on this conversation. Archangel Metatron and Archangel Raziel, Archangel Michael, and Archangel Haniel stepping in to sit with us in divine counsel and just add to this topic about letting go and letting God, letting Source help lead the way. So if you have not heard the show, the 2024 first quarter energies Road to Hana show, I had a lot of fun doing it. And we used a video from the Hawaii Vacation Guide. They had a YouTube video, Erica and Jordan. And it's so, never mind, I'll go to that later. But just being drawn to so many twin flame and divine union couples doing like great work in the world, following their soul mission and their soul purpose. And I love their channel. And they did a video like the 10 mistakes you could make if you're going to go on the road to Hana. And so I used their 10 mistakes as metaphors for the energies of this first quarter 2024. It's a long video. It's about an hour long. So if you haven't heard it yet, after you listen to this, it might be a little shorter. You might want to go back and take a look at that as we break down January, February, and March. But the overall gist of that was these 10 mistakes. If you want to go to the road to Hana is a very idyllic, adventurous, beautiful journey to Hana up the coast of Maui, Hawaii, which, you know, if you've been here, whether you've been here a while or not, I need to stop saying that because we have so many new people who have joined the community. And I think some of them are more, I think we've got three levels, right? We've got the people that are just here for the dailies. We've got the somewhere in between people who are open to listening to some of the newer stuff and maybe want like longer readings and so forth. And then we've got our advanced kind of old sage people who are hungry for more advanced topics, concepts, and also hungry to like just play a little bit and not be so serious about the journey, especially if you've been on that spiritual path for quite some time. If you're what we call an advanced practitioner, like you're ready to hear new concepts, but maybe just in a more fun, lighthearted way that doesn't have to be so serious. All my star seeds, light workers, we call them bringers of the light here on the show, twin flames, you know, healers, master healers, whoever you are, we played all those tunes. And part of that show at the end, so that just getting back to that, we played all those tunes. So join us here and see if you vibe with this tribe. And with my little plug, before I forget. Yesterday, so I'm recording this on Jan 2nd. Yesterday on the 1st, I opened up my Patreon. I've had it out. I've been working on it. It's not another work on, but I set it up. And it's not preloaded with all sorts of stuff, right? Okay, so it's a small group. I want 20 people or less. I want to have a small group so I can devote time to those of you, each one of us individually in the group. And the topics are going to be driven by the energy of the people in the group. It's not going to be, it's going to be what the group most needs in this now. There doesn't have to be anybody in there right now. There could be one person in there right now. There could be 20 people in there right now, whatever, right? The goal of it, my intent behind it, is to provide a safe, sacred, small space where, who knows what the month brings. Maybe we just go in there and we have a what is it called? Midnight margarita moment together. We have some really good we could have some really good conversations. I want to do twice monthly Zoom calls, live calls with whoever's available. We'll record those. We're going to have the bonus content when Spirit guides me to put stuff in there like shamanic journeys or healing sessions. I'm working on some Aloha Reiki stuff right now. Just as I'm guided, we're going to put a lot of bonus content in there, and then we're going to give you a big juicy discount if you want to do a private session with me. That'll be available to those 20 people in the TLC's Inner Sanctum group. So if that speaks to you, go check it out. If you join for the year, basically having us and the guides, having the community, not just us, it's having each other for the entire year, that personalized support on your journey, on your path. You're going to have a lot of opportunities to get your questions answered in this small group setting. I think joining for a year would be pretty much like having a hour and a half session with me, one private session. So it might be better. Depends on how you like to do any of that, or if you like to do any of that at all. Anyway, let's get that out of the way. Let's get that housekeeping out of the way. I will continue to bring that up though, as it speaks to you, because I know there's people that are wanting something like that, wanting something more like that. But back to the road to Hana. And if any of the things that I talk about the work that we do, the stuff that we offer, the thing you want more of us, when I say us, I mean like me and the guides that come along with me, then all the links to everything I talk about are always in the show notes, regardless of whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, some other audio provider, podcast provider, wherever these get uploaded. They're all over the place. But we took the road to Hana, the 10 mistakes. We went through each one of those in the hour-long video. And at the very end of the video, which Erica and Jordan said in their video too, is like, well, if you don't want to do any of these things, then you could just take a guided van tour and let the van people, let the professional tour excursion group handle all that stuff for you. You just show up early in the morning and you just get on the bus and you let them take care of everything. And I was like, I did not really expand on that too much in that show, because I'm like, I had a kind of a fleeting moment, right, where I was like, okay, I want to dive into this further. And I said, well, you could just kind of risk it all and do the guided van tour. And so I'm coming back today because I want to expand on that just a little bit for those of you that are ready, only because I had to have my moment yesterday on the 1st. I don't know when I recorded the other one. Oh, maybe on the 31st. I think I recorded it on Sunday in place of Bringers of the Light, which we do on Sundays, Bringers of the Light Sundays. But yesterday was the 1st, right? And it's all about, putting your goals down and taking massive action and supercharging your goals. And I was all in it, okay, Master Co, he had a 2-hour session. He's one of my primary spiritual teachers right now. And I was all in. I was like, 2 hours, I'm gonna get all my goals down. And then I had a moment of just despair, where I was like, all I'm going to be doing is basically writing down some of the same stuff I've been writing down since, I don't know when, 2020, 2021. And I just got this really I really did have a midnight margarita moment with my son, where I was like, screw 2024 and forget all these darn, lots of expletives came out. Forget 2024, stupid goals and timelines and these things and blah. And I really was I went into a lot of disappointment because those things hadn't, and these are things that are outside of my control, but other things, things hadn't manifested. And I was like, that's it. I just set the whole goal setting thing aside. And I was like, I just want to have fun today. I don't want to think about goals. I don't want to fall into, and maybe I was falling into some thought bubble, thought form floating around out there, but like what a lot of other people were thinking, because we're all connected, right? We're all part of this unity. Well, we're all part of this planet, and we can easily fall into that empathic trap of falling down into lower vibrations. And so the more I thought about goal setting, and the more I thought about doing things the typical way, get that Kanban board out and get those goals down and put a schedule together of when you're going to do all this stuff. I was just like, that just I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling it. It's not in a peaceful way. And I was like, all I want to do today is go back to the peaceful way of how I felt before this 2024 thing came along. And so this morning I woke up and it came out in the cards, and we posted it on the daily about doing things a new way and letting Source kind of help guide the way and drive. And we said in the first Hana video that it was more of like a Taoist approach to living, which is much more divine feminine. There is divine masculine, we'll get there, but much more divine feminine and much more going with the flow. And I said at the end of that video, I'm like, that's a risk-taking approach, to just kind of throw your hands up and say, thy will be done. And so that's where I'm at today. I have decided, and you can use me as like a experiment or whatever. And I've done this before. I think I've done this before with quite drastic, but very interesting and soul growthy results. So I have to put this out there as a disclaimer. So if you decide to go this route, if you decide to take the guided van tour to your destination, let's make sure that you're very balanced. So I don't know who's going to stumble across this and when, but if you're more like a newbie on your spiritual path, it's just kind of like buyer beware. You have to be prepared to accept what Source is going to give you. And I did follow this approach quite some time ago, back when my spiritual journey first started. I just threw my hands up and I was kind of like, I don't know where this journey is going. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Source lead the way. And that when I went on a very roller coaster ride of despair and shaman's death and all that, and it ended up being fine. And maybe that was part of my destiny. But just, if you're new to this journey, just pay attention, use some common sense with some of the things that I'm talking about. You can be all in and still, be grounded in your approach. And we will continue to say that throughout this for those of you that are not big risk takers, because I think you need to be a little bit of a risk taker. The other thing I will say with the work that we do here is we are not completely dependent on any income necessarily from TLC for the soul's work in the world. A lot of that is done as karma stuff. We're not. We do expect at some point to have massive amounts of income from the work that we do. But right now, with this experiment, whether things go well or not, whatever happens, that's not our only income right now. So, if there's those of you out there that are like, it's your only source of income, and you're like, let me just throw everything to the wind and throw my hands up in the air and say thy will be done. But you've got like your house payment and all that to make, beware there of that approach. Just be very conscious of what you're doing. Okay. Because sometimes I think, with the way things appear on social media and the internet, it can make it look like, Janie's throwing her hands up to the wind and wow, I wonder how she's surviving. Looks like she's not doing anything but making some art and just hanging out on social media and like hanging out by the poolside. How's that happening? And it's like, okay, there has to be some sort of something supporting you in your 3D life. And it may not necessarily be, your part-time Reiki practice. It could be. It could lead to that. I'm totally saying it could. But I'm just saying let's be grounded in our approach, especially if you are looking for a path that's kind of the middle path and not anything too drastic, okay? So I did take that path before. I did throw my hands up in the air and I just said, buyer beware, thy will be done. And I did end up losing all my income, having to move in with distant relatives for a long period of time, losing kind of everything at the same time. Like my house lease ended, all my finances kind of were used up. And I said, I'm not going back to the 3D world. This is my work in the world and I want to do it. And so I just let Spirit find the way. And Spirit found the way. It was a very, very hard way. There was a lot of deep soul work that had to be done. And that's where I'm coming back from. That was started like in 2017, where it was just kind of like, no, actually 2015 when I left corporate. But until about end of 2017, when I was kind of like, well, what's going to happen here? And throwing my hands up in the air still. And the way was made, but it was the most challenging. It was very challenging, but it got me to where I am here now with you all, able to speak about very deep concepts, a lot of deep healing work, a lot of stuff that was had to be done and had to happen to me so that I could come in and be somebody who could sit here and then teach and talk about advanced concepts like I do on the show now. So it was a big risk. It did play out, but it was not without a lot of like trauma and a lot of like soul growth and soul lessons having to play out along the way. That was part of my dharma. That may not be part of yours. So again, I would say, take that whence it comes and make the best decision based on how you feel, what you feel in your heart, and how you're being guided to do things. But that's what I'm going to do. I don't know if I can't say I'm going to do it for the whole year. I'm going to do this for the first quarter and see how it works. And what I mean by do this, and if you want to play along with me, and maybe you just try it for like the month of January and see how it goes. And you just take it 1 month at a time. But I'm basically going to put the goals list aside, because none of the goals outside of my control have fallen off my list. I'm like, those still remain. I don't know if I need to write them all down again. Maybe I could. We are going to do a healing session here around the new moon and a blessing of your goals. But it'll be your approach to how you work on them. So you can decide to take the 10 ways, the road to Hana, which is a little bit of like white knuckling and a little bit of stress, a little bit of like pushing yourself really hard, and setting a lot of like tight deadlines and schedules to make sure you get things done at a certain time. And I would say that is a beneficial way if all you care about is results. But once you ascend to higher planes of consciousness, higher frequencies and vibrations, yes, big chills. And once you, so they give them some more chills to be like, yeah. Once you're up here in the relational realities that, I'm not going to call them dimensions, but I always say I'm on the highest relational reality I can be in at this time, whatever's available to me, which we're working with new Lemurian light codes. We're working with being an earth guardian. These are concepts and actually divine purpose and service work that you do on behalf of Source. Once you're working in those realms, the magical realms, the mystical realms, working through, with advanced spiritual knowledge and spiritual teachings, then the Kanban board way of doing things doesn't really work for you anymore. I've tried it, and the reason it doesn't work is because it's more a masculine-based approach. It's more of a patriarchal approach. It's very successful. I did it for on 15 years in the IT professional world as a IT project manager and systems analyst. But it's not very fun. It's very stressful. And it's very goals driven, very, very goals driven, very like, we need this now on this date by this time, or else, heads are going to roll. And it does work. It gets people working. It gets stuff accomplished. Production gets done, things get made, things get released. It's a very like production line type approach. Does work really well. It can be fun, but it's not always. But when I thought about that, when I thought about like scheduling the shows for the channel and writing down like this month I'm going to do this video and this video and that, I was like, nah, boo, I don't even like that anymore. That doesn't even feel good to me. And I'll tell you what, when I first started the channel, TLC for the Soul, back in the fall of 2018, that was how I worked. Whenever I got an impulse to do a show, I just did a show and I just put it out there. Whenever I got an impulse to channel a book, I just channeled a book and then I just released it. I didn't plan anything at all because that 2018 was like the year when I moved in with the in-laws, brother and sister-in-law, and it was like sometimes crazy. It was just crazy. It was like wailing in the woods and crying like, Lord, what did you do to me? I went from my townhouse on the beach in Orange County to like someone's spare bedroom in Selma, Texas. And so I had like a lot of shock and awe-dropping stuff happened in 2018. But when I started the show, it was started for many reasons. One, to start building up my good karma banks again, because I totally depleted them by just doing a lot of receiving, and not a lot of service work. So anytime I do a show, it's like building up a good karma bank, and then I receive in return and in abundance, not necessarily financially, many other ways. And it could be financially, but indirectly, not directly. But that's how I worked back then, 2018, 2019. I don't even know the years anymore, but whatever. When I first started doing this show, man, and I pumped out the shows, let me tell you that way of working for me was so much more successful. I don't know what year we had, we published like 5 books in 1 year. We made like 3 card decks. We made like over 200 shows. And they were so much fun because they were so like fly by the seat of your pants. Like, I'm going to channel Bigfoot. And I mean, I had the best time in the channel early on. And then I started to get more goals driven. Like, man, I'd love to monetize this channel. I'd love to have, thousands of subscribers, which at that point, those are nice goals. But for me, it still wasn't time for me to do that. The energies now for me have opened up and I can set those types of goals if I want to. But I had to wait and be very patient from 2018 to now, to this year, exactly this year, through all of these astrological transits and things that were meant to keep me not having a lot of outside community, just being the hermit and doing the spiritual work I needed to do to get to where I am now and to be ready for some of the goals that I'd like to manifest. The things that are outside of my control, I'm finally ready for some of those to start coming in. So it helps to be really plugged into your guides and understand what's happening on your journey. These are the types of things I'd like to work with the small Patreon group, with the Inner Sanctum, is helping you guys with that kind of stuff. And you need tons of support to live that kind of a journey. You need tons of support on your journey. You can't do a twin flame journey. I'm sorry, you can't do it by yourself. You just can't. You need some support from somebody who's been through it and understands it, to help you with confirmation, to help you with support, so you're not going crazy. The shaman's journey, I'm sorry, I just don't think you can do it alone. I was forced to do it alone. Alone meaning I couldn't go get a private reading, every other week or month or whatever. I couldn't join somebody's private group. Just financially, I wasn't in a place to have the budget to do all that. Because Spirit made me do it by myself. Not that I didn't have the funds. They just did not give me the available funds to be able to do that on purpose. Every time I felt like I needed to get a private reading from somebody, I didn't have funds available for that. And it was like, you've got to work through this yourself. You've got to learn this, and you've got to experience this yourself. so that you can teach others. So I know I've got a lot of you guys out there that's what you want to do. You want to do kind of like what I'm doing, or some hybrid of that, or whatever. So I just personally don't think, I think you can do it by yourself, but look out. Like, it takes a while. It took me, what am I talking about? 6 years now? I don't freaking know. But it's the long road to Hana. I think it's the long road to Hana, right? The van tour goes slow, probably makes a lot of stops. You get in and off the bus. You're dependent on the driver, which in this case, using this metaphor, would be source, your guides, your higher self, your I am presence leading you. It's much more of a divine feminine approach. There is divine masculine involved. So if I get the impetus to do something through this road, the guided van tour approach, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to take massive action on it. But I'm not going to sweat about the timeline. I'm not going to sweat about, the goals. I'm not going to sweat about I'm not going to stress about any of it. It's that Taoist approach of just like, if I just let it flow, is it going to happen anyway? Most likely. If it's part of my soul path and journey, whether I follow the white knuckle, fly by the seat of your pants, white knuckle in it, driving 55 miles up the road to Hana because I'm going to get to Hana, darn it, because I don't want to go to the lava tube. Or, and I'm going to get there in 2 hours. Or I'm going to get on the bus at 6:30. I'm going to let them give me, I don't know if they do this or not, maybe one day. So I said in my video, like, I don't think I would drive the road to Hana myself because it would just be too stressful. And I was like, man, I'd love to take that guided van tour though. I bet, they give you like some coffee or a little snack. My ultimate guided van tour, like, give me a little drink when I get there, a little snack basket or something. And the guy gets on the bus and, gets ready to drive, and we take this leisurely approach where he's like showing us stuff along the way. Look at that, and look at that over there. Ooh, that's protected land. So you want to hear a story about the Minahuni over there? Yeah, let's just stop for a minute. Like, it's much less planned out. Like, we may get there, in 3 hours. We may get there in 4 hours. We might get there in 5 hours. We might get there really late, and we might have to spend the night. But are you going to have a really fun time? You bet. You want to go, that's the kind of journey I want to take. So that is the Road to Hana guided van tour that I'm proposing if you're wanting to try it with your goals and your wishes and your things that you want to accomplish for however long. Like I said, you may just want to try it for the month. You may want to try it for the whole year. I don't freaking know. The guides didn't want me to do a 2024 in its entirety show because they said that once this eclipse hits in April 2024, the big solar one, that there's so many more new energy streams and higher timelines available that we can't even speak to them now because they're not even there yet. And so I'd just be like, that wouldn't even work. That's why we've just did a show for the first quarter. So I invite you, and I will come back and periodically update you, maybe in the Bringers of the Light on Sundays, how this approach is working. For me, just this, letting source lead. So how would that look in a day? So today I woke up and I'm like, oh, I feel so much more peaceful with this choice to just take the guided van tour. I don't have to do not that I don't have to do anything, but I can just relax, enjoy the ride. I don't have to drive, which means I constantly have to look at the road. I can look out the window. I can just be the passenger. And the Minahuni are calling me. All right, what do they have to say? All right, let me see. They're telling me about some really cool idea I could do for a show about the guided van. The guided van tour. That sounds really fun. I think I might want to record that. Do I have to run and record it right now? No, I'm gonna make some tea. I'm gonna talk to my son for a minute, and then if I still feel like recording, I still feel like recording. I'm gonna go record it right now. And then should I put it out there right now? I'll think about that for a minute. I might want to put it out there today. I might want to bundle it up with this light language, this whale light language I want to do for us about the solar song lines and some oceanic Reiki. Maybe I'll wait. I'm going to sit and ponder that for a moment and see which choice feels better. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Now, 3D reality is still there. Like, okay, my dog needs to get fed. My chickens need to get fed. Freaking chickens. my house needs to get taken care of. I have the goals in mind. I just am more fluid about how I approach them, with the understanding that, some things have to get done. Gotta make my house payment. Gotta remember to go make my car payment. So those kinds of things. So let's play with that concept a little bit. Well, how does that sound to you guys? I don't know. If you want to join my inner sanctum and chat about it for the month of January, pop in there, join the membership. It is a membership group. Get in there and see. Let's see, because I'm telling you, you're going to go look and you're going to go, this place is empty. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to preload it with a bunch of stuff until people start getting in there. I may put a few little posts in there. I've got a welcome video in there. But I'm going to drive it based on the group. And if nobody comes, then nobody comes. It's not needed at this time. And if people come and want to, I'm going to play it month by month. People come and need support that month, then we're going to jump in there and we're going to do stuff. So that's how I'm going to run that group. It's an as-needed group, but you will join for the whole month. You'll be with me for the month, and you can partake of whatever's in there. And if you decide to stay, then you can stay. And if you decide that you've had enough, then you've had enough. So let me see if there's anything I want to say about this road to Hana. Yeah, my guides are saying, nope, that's pretty good. It's a wrap for them, which I guess it means it's a wrap for me, because, I could stay talking and chatting with you guys for quite some time. This may even be an hour long too. 30 minutes. It felt like it was hours, right? When you play in the higher realms, it can feel like hours and hours have passed. And it's like, only 30 minutes have passed, which when I set out the goal to do this show, was like, I only want to spend about 30 minutes on this. So here we are. I did not incessantly look at the timer and see how much time I was taking. And by the grace of the guides and source and my higher self, I ended up taking 30 minutes anyway. So that's all I want to say right now. I want to thank you so much for always being here. If you're new here, settle in. And if you've been here for a while, I love all of you equally and beyond measure. And we will talk to you all again soon. Take care.
This episode has been brought to you by Buns and Such, Tessa Locke's premium bakery and workout bar. Visit anytime during the week and enjoy a free mini workout session and chocolate-filled donut. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you again soon.